All right, so this episode we finally get to where we start the car for the first time since sometime in 1985. Registration on the car expires at the end of 1986 or in the month on the windshield in 1986. So don't know when it was parked in 1985, but it was definitely parked in 85 according to the owner. He didn't really explain why, but that's a long time. Hadn't been started in quite a while, and had not been driven in that amount of time either. So it did have a lot of work to be done. So this episode is really a payoff episode between getting it started for the first time, breaking the camshaft in, and some new wheels and tires. So hope y'all enjoy it, man. Keep watching. Share it with your friends if you think they're like-minded and would watch it. And I appreciate you. All right, do it again.
Man, y'all got fire coming out from underneath that
So I've been doing some troubleshooting and then finally got to where I wanted to test and see if we have spark. I hear it. What happened to it? I've been doing some things off camera. Got these vacuum lines all run. These things didn't seem super intriguing to me, so I just did it. Had to go and research this and how this all routes. Not 100% certain I got it. Especially these two, they may be switched. But I did look at the manual to the car at mymopar.com. They have wiring diagrams. And it looks as right as I can get it, or pretty close. I was kind of tinkering with the idea of making sure electronics are working the way they're supposed to, and this headlight switch is frozen solid. And I still need to wire back up the turn signal cam because I'm not sure what else it interfaces with. So I'm going to use this little power supply here. I've got it set for 13 volts and 10 amps. Turn on the output. Something is drawing currently, which I don't know. Oh. But I want to see if I have 12 volts for ignition, because if I don't want to start trying to crank this thing over and then have to wait to find out if I've got spark or not. So okay, so I don't have 12 volts at the ignition side, and while this is not, a car battery, it definitely should still show voltage for my ignition. So from here, I'm going to get into tracing wires. Test light and voltage meter and ohm meter. So I don't know, and a lot of that's probably going to be under the dash. Oh, that's a little annoying. No dome light, but I don't know. Ooh, there. Well, that's less annoying. I gotta take out this old 8-track mount, I think is what this is. Like a slide in, slide out 8-track. I've seen one on some other channel. But, oh, whoa, why do we got, what's that about? We have a light. And when that light came on, I saw the current drop over here. I mean, that's supposed to be there, so there's something. Probably a bad bulb there. But what I want to go through and do is like take this out, get it out of the wiring system completely, and troubleshoot my 12 volts, because I don't want to be trying to crank the motor over to start it and not have voltage to the distributor, which is not in the car yet. But so I will do something's drawing real current now. Something turned on. Okay, we're going to turn that off. Something's drawing actual current, and I'm not sure why. Oh, I know what happened to it. I doubt y'all can see that, but you can probably hear it. This is just an old distributor I had laying around. I just wanted to verify I have spark. However, I was only getting like 4 volts to that coil, or once I hooked that coil up, voltage dropped down to 4 volts. So I'm not quite sure that coil is any good, that MSD one. This is the one that came out of the car. It's only showing like 6 volts, but I'll keep tinkering with it until I feel confident, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so I hooked back up the MSD coil, and the spark actually looks better, but up here you can really see it's jumping a pretty serious gap. So my concern was I didn't want to be doing a bunch of cranking and not running. Oh, let's turn this off here. Simply because, you know, the camshaft's not broken in. It has leaked. No, you can't see that. Gotta have a flashlight for that. Down there, that little pool, and that's dripping off the cross member, or the K member. And the problem is that bolt right there goes into a water jacket. I've never had trouble with it leaking before, but it is definitely leaking. It's this one right here, but it's leaking. I don't really want to pull it out right now to put sealant, thread sealant on it, because you know it's going to shoot water everywhere. And then over 4 days it hasn't leaked enough to show any loss of coolant. I'm pretty content with it. If it worsens once there's pressure, then certainly I'll figure out what I gotta do. But it appears I have sparks. I did go through. Here, I'll show. This power supply won't do a whole lot. I mean, it's only capable of 10 amps, so it's not like you're gonna start the car with it or anything. This is the headlight switch that was in the car. See, we got oil pressure light showing up, and then this switch would not pull out at all. We actually have one whole tail light, so making, you know, some progress. But I'm actually trying to remove, you have to be able to pull that rod out to take the headlight switch out. You have to push on this lever, and then pull this rod out at the same time. And since I couldn't pull out on that rod at the same time because it won't come out at all, I tried to pull on it with some channels locks, and you know, top of it just come out instead. I'm going to check one last time, see what kind of current that puppy's drawing when it's when the key's off. Yeah, it's got a draw. That could be the door being open, I don't know, but 17 milliamps, 16 milliamps, nothing crazy. But I do have sparkles. That was the main goal. I think 73 was the first year of widespread electronic ignition in our cars. I did go through the fuse block. I pulled out each fuse, did a continuity test to make sure that they were conducting. Took some steel wool and cleaned the caps on each fuse just to reduce any extra draw through, because it kind of, some of them have rust on them from just sitting in the same spot for so long. But we're looking fairly serviceable. Probably tomorrow I'm going to get out here and put the battery in it. Put the battery in it, put the plugs in it, run my plug wires, and I guess fill up the float bowls through the vents, and then put a gallon or two of gas in the fuel tank. And then try and break in a camshaft. So again, I'm not going to try and do it by myself. I want to have somebody out here that can keep an eye and make sure we're not, you know, pumping water out on the ground, or pumping transmission fluid out, or pumping out power steering fluid. You know, all the things that can happen when you start one up that you've taken completely apart. But there we are. We have spark, and we are very close to attempting starting. So that's pretty cool. We're going to do some spark plug-in. longer one. I think you're on there, fella. Flip-floppy. There we go. Yeah, that's all we're doing over here. Like that anyway. Yep, it's a wrench and probably a short one too. What we're looking at. Right here is your spark plug socket. Is the other one I just did. But you have to come in underneath the header down here and hit it with 13/16 wrench on your plug socket. That's what she gets right there. As much as I'm getting. Something from the top. Maybe I could. I don't think so. No, we're good. It's tight. That's all that matters. Okay. So I was going to stop for the day, and then I got to looking at spark plugs and thought, well, I might as well just do spark plugs. And then here we are. But I am going to stop now. And what I'm going to do tomorrow, I'm going to come out, I'm going to prime the oil pump again. Then I'm going to run the spark plug wires. I have to run or plug that vacuum advance, and then I'll run the vacuum line to this vacuum port over here. Is that the meter back? Anyway, I'll plug it for starting the vehicle, but then once we get it all, copacetic, I need to run this oil pressure gauge inside the car, put the battery in it, but it'll get pretty close. So that's where we'll pick up tomorrow and probably fire this thing up for the first time. It is going to be open headered. I'm sure that's going to be great for the neighbors. Probably have some folks come by or call the police. Plug wires suck. I'm betting the set I have has no 90-degree boots, and that's unfortunate because 90-degree boots would be way better on a couple of spots. It has a whole lot of coil wire. They're all pretty much the same length. I don't know what to do with that. Let's go with 8 first. Anyways, one of the closer ones. 1, 2. 2 should be the furthest one. Man. Now, this could look cleaner, but I need to do some arranging. I'll show you what the complaint is here with these plug wires. That header tube right there runs right over the top of the two plugs, so you need a 90 to go around the header and then come up underneath it and then pop onto the plug, and then that way you don't have that situation. And then the other side's great. There's not much to worry about over there. They're just angle plug heads. They just kind of work. The wires are long and gangly looking. It's not great, but so what I'll do is I gotta pour some gas into a little bottle so I can squirt to fill up the float bowls. Oh, there's the cut. I didn't even know that was a cut. I didn't feel it. I did that. Anyway, so get a bottle and fill up the float bowls through the vents, and I need to dump some gas into the gas tank. Probably put a band-aid on this finger, but I will return. Alright, it was my goal to start the car today. Filled up the float bowls, hit the accelerator pump, no fluid, no fuel was coming out. Couldn't figure out what was going on. The accelerator pump was adjusted right. Ultimately, it came down to when I took the squirter off, I never replaced the little check valve for the accelerator pump. So it was like frozen in the carburetor. It was frozen down and would not let fuel past it. So I replaced that. However, today's Father's Day. My daughter wants to go out and do something for Father's Day, so going to do that instead of starting the car. I got kind of delayed, so when I was younger, I would have just pushed on through it and done whatever I had to get started, but I think I'm just going to let it sit for today, and then tomorrow after I get done working, I'll come and start this thing up and try and break in the camshaft. So it was I'm just, as I've gotten older, I don't push so hard to make stuff happen, because when you start pushing and the car is fighting against you, you end up with something broken, or something happens that you didn't need to have happen. So I'm just going to let it rest another day, and then we'll come and hit it tomorrow. That's it. That acted like 180 out. Needs to get off on my rotations at some point. It's alright. Won't be the last. But it did seem to have spark, or else it wouldn't have. I don't think it would have thrown that backfire. Put the ground back up. Well, that oil pressure. What was that? Oh, guess it made some vibration. It's about as much as I want to do with that garage door open.
look, there she goes, sweet as honeydew. You swear that you have seen her face like she's deja vu. She's the image of the fruit you cannot taste, forbidden and out of reach from another place. You don't know her name or how she got to here. All you know is that you know she's from a higher tier. You're reaching for her now. She built to weigh you down and out. She's never coming down. There's never any doubt. She's up above. Oh, she's a beach. She's simply out of reach. She's up above. Oh, she's a beach. She's simply out of reach. She's up above. Oh, she's a beach. She's simply out of reach. She's up above. Oh, she's a beach. She's simply out of reach. Oh, look, there she goes, sweet as honeydew. You swear that you have seen her face like she's deja vu.
Okay, that should be cam broke in right there. Man, it's a little warm. We didn't get up quite to operating temp, so it's running nice and cool. I think I can set the timing where it's at. That's the first time this engine has started since 1985, which is crazy. Ooh, that's hot. But now I gotta let it cool off out here. It's 100 degrees outside today. Heat index was like 120 earlier. I waited till that came down some, but it's blazing hot. Car's not hot. Car did great. Didn't have to do a lot of cranking. I had it pretty close, except for the fact that I had the distributor stabbed 180 out. It's not the first time that's ever happened. I don't know how, but whew. All right. I need to get that choke hooked up so it'll do what it's supposed to. Probably still a little low on tranny fluid, but it's pretty close. I'm gonna go inside and cool off and let the car cool off. All right, so what I'm doing right now is going to pick up wheels and tires I had mounted. I finally bought wheels and tires for the car. You know, appearance-wise, it's one of the most significant things you can do to a car. Unfortunately, the first time y'all see it, it's going to have no fenders, no grille on it. But, you know, the wheels and tires that are on it, I didn't want to spend any money on them because I wasn't going to use them. I didn't want to go and buy some junk tires and use those because, again, just wasting money. I did consider it. Just, you know, I could buy a wheel as opposed to buying a set of junk tires that I'm not going to use for more than a couple times. So I'm running to pick those up, and then I will some of y'all are not going to like the wheels, especially the factory guys. They're not going to. It's not going to be something they would choose. That's okay. I get it. But it is definitely my type of tire and wheel setup. So I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to see it. Additionally, I have to put the wheels and tires on to take the car for its first drive. It is going to go for a first drive, again, with no grille, no fenders, no headlights. It will go for its first drive that way. And there's some stuff I have to do before I can drive it still. I have not hooked up the steering linkage yet because the steering linkage runs right through the driver's side header, so I still have to go through and do that. I'm going to swap out the rear air shocks. Maybe I might leave them on there if I have some kind of clearance issue. Just for now, but probably not. Yeah, no, I'll probably not leave them on there. I can't do the air shocks. I'll have to figure out, you know, if I have to roll the quarter or something like that, I'll have to do that. But so it's going to have two 55/60 15s on the rear. It's got 205/50 17s on the front, and they're on a 4.5 inch wide rim. So it's going to be, you know, your typical big tires in the back, skinnier tires in the front setup. But like I say, it is one of the most significant visual changes you can make on the car. And I would certainly prefer that the first time people see it, it's got its body panels on, but I'm not ready to put the body panels back on because I have to do stuff like patch some holes in the driver's fender, some rust holes. I have to do a little body work on the passenger fender, which is from another car from a junkyard. And so it'll be the first time you see it as it is. The car is the color scheme on the car, even though it's got those red and blue stripes on it, which I'm not a huge fan of. The color scheme for the car ultimately is going to be black and white. So y'all understand once y'all get to see the wheels, and then I'll show that to y'all at the end of the video. All right, as I told you in the video, had to go pick up wheels and tires. We're going to get those on. Had them mounted at discount tire. The fronts are 205/50 17s. And they're going on a 4.5-inch wheel, which I kind of did research on the internet, and they said they were pretty difficult to put on, but discount did fine with them. So these wheels require a thin wall socket for the lug nuts. I got the lug nuts on them are different than the wheels that are on the car now, but I'm going to get them put on. Well, let me get the old ones off and then get them put on. Well, that's what you get for trusting the Rocks Autos. Man, I kind of thought they were 1/2 inch. Then I looked it up on Rock Auto and it said they were 7/16 by 20. So I took them at their word. Well, that's not good. Man. Oh, that's gonna bum me out, dude. Suck. Suck a luck. Suck a luck. They are definitely the wrong size lug nuts. Now that sucks the joy out of my wheel installing experience. Fiddlesticks and buttermilk, dude. Yep, 1/2 inch, not 7/16. Rocks Auto. Damn liars. I don't know what I was thinking. I really don't. Like, in my brain, I thought they were 1/2 inch. When I saw it listed multiple times as 7/16. I thought my brain was wrong, but I'm going to look at it real quick. But I can't install it, so. Ah, man. All right, so it's the next day. Lug nuts were definitely not the right size. Went to look and see what I could buy them for locally, money-wise. And local parts stores for black lug nuts want $20 per 4. So you need 5 sets. That's $100 plus tax. Or you can go on Amazon, and unfortunately, they are Chinesium. But they're a decent looking lug nut. And they're about $22 delivered next day. So now, when I looked them up on Rock Auto to see what thread they were, I saw what Rock Auto said they were, and I thought, that doesn't seem right. But Rock Auto probably knows better than me. Well, not this time, pal. Did you get a glance at them? I don't think you did. You might have. I don't know. Where is... Oh, goodness, that's a lot. Anti-seize. Yeah, we're gonna have good clearance, I think, man. We're gonna have any tire rubbing. You know, I personally do like as big a tire as I can get under the back of a car. However, when you're trying to sell one, you don't really want to, you know, make it something that they gotta go buy tires, because if they come test drive it and you got tire rub, their interest is probably going to be lower than if it didn't have tire rub. When I started it the other day, Chrysler transmission front pump doesn't really get engaged, or it doesn't pump fluid throughout the transmission until it's in neutral. Unless you change the valve body, or they actually make a plunger that'll modify it to where the front pump is moving fluid in park as well, but that plunger is part of a shift kit, and that's not the brand shift kit I put in it. So, all right. There we are. 4 wheels on it. Shiny new tires. 17s in the front. 15s in the rear. I'll give you all a glance at what the old tires look like, just so you remember. You can see this is just corrosion. These are dirt dauber nests. This one I kind of cleaned up. It's still hideous, but it's better. And without further ado, let me see if I can get in position. There's your fronts. There's the rears. These are Jegs wheels. They're not for everybody's taste, but you can see we got quite a bit of clearance. You got plenty of clearance to the leaf springs. 17s in the front definitely reduce the amount of sidewall. And once this stripe is black, I don't really want to replace the mirrors, so probably I'm going to sand these down and paint them flat black. But lots of clearance, and then clearance to the leaf spring is good as well. If you can see that, probably not. Let me get a flashing light. So that's leaf spring clearance, which is pretty decent. I mean, my hand almost fits in there, so that's good. That is, as everybody else knows, one of the biggest changes you can make to a car visually is wheels and tires. My garage is just full of crap. I'm happy with them. You know, with my budgetary constraints, they were a good fit. They're a good fit in here, man. I don't have to worry about tire rub, and they're decent size. 255 60 15s. It's a good size tire. But there it is. Next I'll be getting a video put together of me doing the few things I have to do before I can drive it. So now I have decent running gear to drive it on, and we'll pick up from there.